Hi guys. Ooh, I'm so excited. Look where I am. I'm not in my usual place. Honestly, guys, so sorry. Welcome back to my podcast. I'm Dawn. I'm a doctor, the host of Backseat Positivity. And today we are doing Stop Charging Your Phone. I've recently started doing this and it's actually been really good. But I spoke to Izzy, my friend, who you might have seen on the podcast, I think it was last week or the week before, on the Slow the Fuck Down episode. Anyway, we were talking quickly about how I have stopped charging my phone. And she was like, oh my God, Dawn, that would really freak me out. And I was like, yeah, that's kind of the point. So today I was going to talk about it, but let's quickly talk about where I am, okay? There's a drum set behind me. Maybe I'll start drumming. Literally, who knows, okay? This is not my new podcast setup. I'm very, very sorry because it's fucking awesome. I don't know if you can see this on the table. I've got this. Oh, wait there. Welcome back to my podcast, guys. Okay. I don't have a podcast jingle, but that should definitely be it. And I had a great time just then. So, maybe we'll have some sound effects. What the fuck? So basically, if you're not watching on the YouTubes, then maybe have a little look. I'm basically in a, what would you call it? A music studio. Like I said, got a drum set behind me, look. There it is. I've got my notes on a music stand. I've got a proper podcast ear headphone things and it's fucking amazing. Anyway, basically I've been helping Izzy's studio out a bit and they said in return they would let me use their podcast kit. So I'm like, yeah, obvs, I want to use it. So I was kind of here today and unintentionally I brought some of my stuff with me because we were trying something out, but they were like, I said, oh yeah, I have to book in a podcast session. And then they were like, oh, we're not very busy today. And I was like, oh, okay. Yeah, I'd love to do it today. So here we are. We're going to try and get a few done actually. I've got a couple of hours here. So maybe just half an hour per ep and then I'm sorted for a week. That would be good, wouldn't it? But you know me, I like to talk and we'll see how it goes. Woo! Oh. I really hope you can hear it on the podcast. Otherwise, it's just going to be me dancing to nothing. And that would be really awkward. It's coming up on the audio wave. So I'm very much hoping it works out. Anyway, thanks for coming back to join me. And we're having a great time. So I bet you guys charge your phones every night, don't you? Yes, I bet you do. Because I often do, but there's been a recent change of events and that has been that I've just forgotten to do it. Now, the reason for that is because I'm always, I'm fucking loco. I'm locum. I'm moving around. I locomotor. I'm moving all over the place. I have a lot of charging equipment in my bag. So the charger is often in my bag and I just forget to take it out. By the time I'm in bed, I'm bleh, can't be asked. So instead, I just leave it and it's half and then it's not dead by the morning. It's fine. Unless I've got something really important on the next day where I kind of need an alarm, it would be Devo if, I just said that. It'd be devastating if I didn't get up, I had work, actual work or something. But alas, that has not happened recently. Yay, no work. So yeah, I just sleep until I wake up. And that's a great time, personally. I find it amazing. So yeah, something I've recently discovered. I just leave it. I've got a fairly new phone. So it's not as though, when you've got a really old phone, it's 50% and then suddenly it's at 10 and you're what are you doing? I didn't agree to this. I did not consent. And so yeah, it's not one of those. It does hold its charge and it's not really doing much overnight, so it's chilling, just like me. So yeah, something I've recently discovered, I just leave it, and I feel like I've repeated that a lot. So anyway, in my recent episode with Izzy and John, called Slow the Fuck Down, we talked about, very briefly, we mentioned about how I'd stopped charging it because we were going to do an episode. We're going to do 2 episodes that day. Anyway, we didn't because we ran out of time, but I was going to do this episode with her. And she was saying, oh my God, I could never do that. That really stresses me out. And I was like, why? And to be honest, it would be great to know why right now for the purposes of the podcast, but I can probably guess why. We are so fucking addicted to our phones. Like they are, I don't even know where mine is. Where did it go? Oh, it's in my bum bag. It's like always attached to us. And sometimes my phone makes me feel really lazy because it's like, you haven't walked any steps today. You're walking 1,000 less steps than you did last week. And I'm like, fuck off. It's because I'm leaving you at home and I'm not taking you with me. Or maybe I'm having a hangover day. Get over it. Don't tell me what to do. Anyway, so yeah, it just really stresses us out. It literally is like a security blanket. Like I swear, when I was a kid, I had a security blanket. It was called Blanky. Very fucking inventive, I know. So Blanky is now safely stowed, still alive, but not used. Fair enough. I'm 28. Okay, we get it. But my phone, and I have definitely moved away from phone security blanket vibes because of not charging my phone. And we'll get on to why. I mean, why does not having an iPhone or a smartphone stress us out? Let's go back in time. Only approximately, what would it be now? 20 years. I'm getting fucking old. Like, seriously, I'm 28 and I keep going, oh my God, like 20 years ago. Well, actually, that's 2/3 of my life. Like, what is going on? So I was 8. Oh my God. Was that a good time? No, but whatever. Let's go back to a better time, but it's less of a round number. Okay, not 20 years, but let's go back. Let's say, I don't know, 15 years. I was then 13. That is very old. I am very old, I mean. So I'm 29 this year. I feel like I'll look back on this podcast and be like, shut up, bitch. You're now 40. Or maybe I won't even make it to 40. There we go. I don't know. Who knows? So when I was 13, I actually got a phone when I was 11, I think. 10, 11. And when I say phone, you know what I mean. Yeah. I do not mean an iPhone. iPhones weren't even invented. They were not even out when I was 13. When I was 10. They only came out when I was about 13 or 14, I think. I can't remember what year it was, but I remember one of the first ones coming out. Maybe it was a bit later, but anyway, they didn't become like mainstream until about me being like 13 or 14. So you know what I had? Yeah. I had a Nokia. You know what I'm about to say. 3310. Okay, we played Snake and that was it. Literally nothing else because I couldn't text anybody. No credit, that's what we called it. You don't really have credit nowadays unless you're like, you don't have enough money to have a contract or you've just never paid your contract in the past so they won't give you one. So you can still get credit, basically. For those of you who don't know, if you're really that young, you can go online probably, but in the past you went to the shop, you said, I want to put £10 credit on my SIM card. This is my number. And then, or they would give you like a slip, you'd pay them, and they'd give you a slip with like a code on it, and then you'd like type it in and it would give you credit. Good old days. Nostalgia, eh? Yeah, we love nostalgia. Why does nostalgia make us feel so good? I think it's because if nostalgia didn't make us feel good, we would just be like sad about everything. Sad about the future because we're going to die. Sad about the present because we're decaying. And sad about the past because maybe it was shit. So, we need to look back on something and be like, wow, that was pretty good. Even though, was it? I don't know. But that's how it felt anyway, because of nostalgia. So I think nostalgia is like a protective thing. That's my 2 cents there. So back to the time before smartphones. So yeah, I had a Nokia 3310 that I didn't really use because I couldn't use it. And it was basically so my mum could call me and be like, where are you? And that was it. And then move on to like me being 11, 12, just gone into secondary school. You get something called a flip phone. Oh, wait. Yeah, I think Motorola Razrs came. They looked a bit like razors and they were like really sharp edged and like crisp. So they were like flip phones. Flip phones were fucking cool. You just be like, bye, and then like hang up and flip your phone together and that would be it. But they're just not a vibe anymore apparently. Well, no, they are coming back. That one with the screen that folds. Bit odd, but okay. So we also had Blackberries, which were actually for like middle-aged businessmen, but apparently 13-year-old girls wanted to have them because they, you know, needed to like have lots of business meetings and like send emails, whatever. And then what came next? Oh, I remember, sorry, a little bit before that, I've missed the Sony Ericsson phase. Sony Ericsson was like, I think one of the first, I don't know. No, actually, it wasn't one of the first, but it was like, everyone was like, they're really good for music and they're really good for taking pictures. I remember taking pictures on my Sony Ericsson phone, which was, again, a brick. But we loved it. I loved my Sony Ericsson. It was great. And that was kind of, those were kind of like when phones started coming around like that, and then you had music on them. That was game changing, and computers were still like a bit, you know, kind of up and coming. The computer room used to be like this mysterious land where you had to get like computers for school vouchers. Do you remember those you used to get from Tesco? And then you take them into school and then you get a computer. So yeah, I grew up in a very confusing age. I mean, it was great. Like we came about at like the right time where we still knew simplicity, but we also grew up through the evolution of smartphones. So, God, what a poignant sentence I just said. We grew up through the evolution of smartphones. I mean, we literally did. And we were kind of old enough to get technology, not like, you know, 50-year-olds, 60-year-olds who are like, what's going on here? How do I fix this? And it's like we've got the advantage of, you know, they have got a significant disadvantage. It's like if, you know, code started becoming a thing and everyone learned how to code, well, we'd have to go back to school or back to whatever and learn how to code. And for somebody who's a bit older, learning is a bit more difficult, you know, brain decay, etc., as discussed earlier. So, yeah. I remember the first iPhone came out. I think it was the first iPhone, or it was the iPhone 3 anyway. But I remember it. And I remember holding this thing. It was like a pebble. I remember, like a pebble. And like pretty tiny screen and like the old iOS, if you know, you know. And I remember zooming in, you know, you do the pinch. And I was like, oh my God, this is the best thing I've ever seen. Like, I literally remember being so fucking ecstatic about that. And that really was a game-changing moment for me. Like, just pinching, the screen expanding, zooming in. And even now, like, you're looking at something, like a picture, like a magazine, and you kind of just want to, like, zoom in on it because you're like, wow, I can't see it fully in detail. But maybe that's okay. Maybe you just see the picture as a whole. You don't need to zoom into the details. Just accept it. I was about to swear again, but I need to stop. Okay. So that was times before smartphones. And we kind of just, oh my God, okay. Oh, I'm really going on a nostalgic trip here. For those of you who are like, what am I, millennial? For those of you who are millennials, this is going to be a great episode for you. If you're like 40, it might not be. I'm sorry. But I remember you used to say that phrase that was like, oh, will you knock on after school? And it was like, will you knock on my door? You don't like go, oh yeah, I'll text you later. No, you didn't have text. You had MSN and you would nudge people and that was it. And then you would actually go and physically see them in their place of residence. And this whole like FaceTime thing, not a thing. Yes, you'd have webcams, but they were potatoes, like and not mobile as well, so you wouldn't really use it. And also, I guess as a kid, you would kind of want to go and see people as well. But I guess that's really sad that it's changed, you know. It was a good time. You would go out and just hang out on street corners and fucking throw grass at each other and like roll around on bicycles, be bullied, and that was great. Yeah, I mean, I don't think that's ever going to change. Like, people are still going to bully people, especially kids. So yeah, that is the evolution of where I've come from as well. I still remember when my parents used to use like A to Z maps, you know, like those massive maps of the UK, and it would literally have like every road on it. None of this like sat nav thing. Like, your mum or dad would have the map. They'd be like, yeah, okay, I think you should go left now, and then there's a roundabout. Like, they were your sat nav. And I think I rely on my phone for a lot of things. In no particular order. Number one, I guess entertainment is the most common reason people use their phones. Number two, boredom. Number three, awkward situations where you're like, I could like not be here and I would be fine with that. So I'm going to take my mental self out of this situation. My physical self might still be here, but I don't know that I'm here, because actually I've zoned out, right? I'm in my phone now. You don't exist. So awkward situation. Oh yeah, I'm going to get my phone out. Okay. So I don't need to pay attention to you anymore. And that is a crutch. Like, we need to get used to the awkwardness. Okay. Sometimes life is awkward. Fucking get over it. Just deal with it. But that's kind of gone. We're just like, oh, I don't know what to do with myself now. I'm not going to look at the surroundings or talk to people. No, I'm going to stare at my phone and go onto TikTok. The evilest beast of them all. Okay, so we've gotten onto the three most insidious, damaging aspects of using phones, so entertainment, boredom, and awkward situations. And then I guess we move on to the more practical aspects. Like, yes, we do need to phone people sometimes. We do need to get directions places, and it's much easier than stopping and getting a map out, or, you know, especially if you're going somewhere with cars as they are nowadays, much better. It is definitely easier just to, as in cars can go further. So it's nice to have the maps. Oh my God. However, I'm not going to lie. One pet peeve of mine, it's a very mild pet peeve. I don't get angry about it. It would be preferable if it were to stop happening. And I'm sure in a couple of generations' time, it won't happen because the people that do it will be dead. So you know what I'm talking about, probably not. The thing that old people do when they're like, oh, do you know how to get home? And you're like, no, but, and then they interrupt you and go, oh, okay, so I'll tell you. So you go out of here and then you take a right, and then you keep going for about 400 yards, they say in like old school stuff. And by this point I'm like lost. I'm like, okay, yeah, I've already shut my brain down. I'm sorry, I might be being rude here, but it's the truth. Okay, I am not listening to your directions. I am typing in my location onto maps, and your directions are futile. And then they keep going for about 5 minutes. Okay, so then once you've gone 400 yards down that road, then you take a left, and then, okay, so it's then like an immediate right, and don't forget that bit. But actually, they don't say it as fun as this, so it's maybe like, okay, so you go right out of here, and then it's left, and then right again, and straight over the roundabout, and then get onto the M5, and go down the M5, but you know, it's not as engaging as I was being. Okay. So, but the thing is, right, you've typed it in, you've put it up on your thing, okay? You might have plugged it in because you didn't charge your phone last night. And then the thing is, they always conclude the sentence, or the often lengthy paragraph, semi-short novel of directions, with this one sentence. oh, but it's okay, you can get it up on maps, can't you? Or on your sat nav. And I'm like, yes, that's kind of what I've been doing. But you continued, oh, I know they're trying to be helpful. I get it. They're trying to be helpful. But it's also like you are actively witnessing me getting my maps up and then acknowledging that I will definitely use my maps. And it's like, okay, maybe that's their version of I'm awkward, I'm going to get my smartphone out. Instead it's, I'm awkward, I'm going to tell you all the directions for 200 miles. And it's like, please don't do this to me. So, yeah, I can't even remember how I got here right now. I need maps to my podcast location. So, okay, so we're talking about directions. Yeah, so the time. We often use smartphones for the time. What else do we use it for? Texting. Oh my God, don't we half text a lot? Sometimes I'm like, please, I just want to stop. I don't want to be involved in this anymore. And some of it is also, oh my God, I haven't used let's use a, ooh, I just realised I hadn't used one in a while. I was totally out of context. I'm sorry. I could just say that I could just do that for the whole podcast because I'm a fucking joker and I'm just making jokes left, right and centre and you can't handle it. Okay, shut up, Dawn. So we use, we take pictures a lot, don't we? Oh my God. What did we do before we took pictures? I guess we had those like Polaroid, they weren't Polaroid things, but they were, I don't even know what you call them, film cameras, you know, the ones that I mean, where you take it and then you take it to take that little cartridge to the developer, and then you come back and you look at all the shit pictures where your thumb is over the fingers over the lens and you go, oh, cool, okay. That was a waste of time. So we took pictures. I think before pictures, people just got paintings done or they just remembered shit or they wrote it down. You know, people love to remember stuff because otherwise what is life? Life is just right now. I mean, it is kind of the case, but nobody wants to admit it. So yeah, take pictures, we take videos, and then you have to think about the really like banal stuff. And I do not know if banal is the right word. 1 second. Let me check. Banal. Okay, I do not know how to spell it, which doesn't help. See, now I can't even remember what the sentence was that it was referring to. But banal is actually just spelled B-A-N-L. B-A-N-L. Like banal. So lacking in originality as to be obvious and boring. When I go back and edit this, it might make sense. But right now, I honestly can't remember what I was saying. It sounded like the right word at the time. So I think a lot of the things that people use their phones for now are kind of just for entertainment. So like watching videos, but that could kind of fit into the like boredom entertainment, you know, the ones that I discussed earlier. We have a lot of apps. I actually read my emails quite a lot on my phone, and that is because I am currently applying for lots of jobs and I want to know the answer. So that's, you know, I'm not usually like on my email, but currently I am that person. So come on, let's get down to the reason. Obviously, the obvious reason we shouldn't charge our smartphones overnight is not to like save electricity, but it's to use our phones intentionally. If we've got 100%, you're kind of like, meh, whatever. I'll just do what I want on it. I've got all day. It'll be fine. And you don't really think about what you're doing on it. You're not like, oh, I need to conserve my battery because, you know, if there's an emergency, then I need to be able to use it for phone, you know, to phone someone or for whatever. And I've noticed that although it does stress me out, you know, the thought of my phone dying, I think the main aspect of it is kind of like safety. which in a way is kind of good. But, it's like if I get lost, I don't want to be like, my phone's not working, which would be quite sad. But if you've got somebody with you, then it's less of a problem. But also, are you ever really going to get that lost that you can never get home again? Like, I'm sure you can find a way. So what do you actually do on your phone? Now, I think the main reason that it would stress me out is for directional purposes and for safety. I don't really use my phone a lot for TikTok, not at all actually. Instagram, Facebook, like social media, I barely use on my phone. I barely use at all. I watch YouTube on my TV. That's probably about it. These headphones are so funky. Like, they're quite comfy as well, I think. My only issue is that they're kind of pressing on what I would deem as, maybe a gland, and I feel like I'm just salivating a lot, but that's probably because I'm talking a lot. That one was appropriate. Okay. No, I don't want to use any of those. I was like, I was going to use, I know, I'll wait until later to use it. So I think having less battery on your phone means that you use your phone more mindfully. And I do not think that that is a bad thing. I just think it's a great thing. Like, it means that you just ration it more. Because if you were like going into a zombie apocalypse and you only had 10 cans of food left, you wouldn't just eat them all mindlessly, would you? You would be like, okay, we're in a zombie apocalypse. I need to not eat too many cans of beans, or maybe that will keep the zombies away. Oh, the problem is I don't know where they all are. There we go. And wait, let me say the line again. Oh my god, we're in a zombie apocalypse. We can't eat all the cans of beans at once. Although maybe if you were in a zombie apocalypse, the cans of beans would keep the zombies away. That was such a fake laugh. Wow. Wow, wow, wow. Yeah, that is how sad my fake laugh was. So I'm sorry if these are really annoying. I'm having a good time. So there we go. I will try to stop using so many though. Okay, so use it for necessities. I think directions are kind of a necessity, but I've also got this like A to Z map in my car now, just in case, because I think there might be times where the satellites fall out of the sky. The satellites get abducted by aliens. I don't know, but your phone runs out of battery or something and you don't have the charger or it breaks. And then you're like, oh, fuck, what do I do now? And then you've got the A to Z in your car. I have loads of random shit in my car for that reason. I've got gloves in my car, just in case. Who knows? I might have to deliver a baby. I've got bottles of water in my car. Some are empty, some are not. You never know why, because you might need to wash the baby after it's born. I'm thinking ahead, and that's important. I think that's all I've got to say really on stop using your smartphones. Even if just try leaving it upstairs. Even if you stay at home, you don't need to carry your phone around the house. You're not going to get lost. I do think we use our phones too much, and I am having a great time using it less. I love it. But I understand if it's an addiction for you, it might be easier said than done, just to go, whatever, I'm just going to leave it. Anyway, guys, I hope that was helpful. If it was, give it a little likey boy. If it wasn't, then I don't know, maybe you should have stopped listening sooner. But you've made it to here, so that's nice. We've had a really good time together, haven't we? Half an hour, and I'm going to record another one now, so I've got a bloody day ahead of me. So yeah, the next episode is on the other side of this piece of paper. Some crazy things that I've learned from being a doctor. That's kind of the title. And then I've got another one that if I have time, I'm trying to stick to half an hour per episode. If I've got time, I might also do either how to be happier while single, cast your votes, or this one's a bit sad, but I think I can make it into a good one because I'm a happy gal. The day my perpetrator died. That was a crazy day. It might sound sad, but it has a good end, I reckon. Anyway, yeah, so those are the next ones coming up. If you want to hear about those, then, well, you have to wait a few days. But for me, I'm only going to be waiting a few minutes. And then I'm going to be living it. How crazy is that? Anyway, guys, yeah, if you did like it, give it a like, a rating on wherever you're listening to podcasts. By the way, if you're listening on the website, on the on like desktop, you can actually listen on the go. Did you know that? It's on Spotify, it's on like Apple Podcasts, it's on Deezer, it's on Stitcher, it's on everything. You can listen to it anywhere, pretty much, except like maybe the moon or something. But I don't think you're going there anytime soon. So that was such a shit joke. I think it needs this. I agree. Or this one. Okay. That one actually goes on for a really long time if I just left it, so that would be funny. Yeah. Oh, I've got some really exciting things in the next episode that I'm going to record. So make sure you follow, and then you'll know when it comes out. I upload on Mondays and Thursdays, and the video goes out on my Patreon page, which I'll leave in the description below. It's just patreon.com or whatever /diaries of a doctor, and you can support me, which would be super helpful because I don't have a job, so that'd be nice. And there's different tiers on there, so you don't need to like go cray and give me like all your life savings. There's just like a £5 a month one, which is really not that much, it's like a pint. You'd buy a pint a month, wouldn't you? So just think of it like buying me a pint. If you can't afford it, or you don't give a shit, don't worry, I won't be offended. Anyway, thanks so much for watching, guys, or listening. I will see you in a couple of days. Bye.